Hello, it's April and welcome to Snapdragon Hollow. Today I'm here with a Halloween book vlog. I've got my fun spider mug here that I've got for the holidays. I found this at a local grocery store, brewed up a nice cup of tea for our little book chat here. I also have a delicious gluten-free pumpkin muffin from Trader Joe's. Very tasty. But before I get started into my snack, I'll go ahead and set that aside for later. I encourage everyone to grab themselves a nice cup of tea or coffee or your other favorite beverage and join me to talk about some Halloween books and take a look at my Halloween bookcase. So the other day my husband and I stopped in at Barnes & Noble. We don't very often head into the bookstore in person, so it was a real treat to get to walk through the bookstore, see everything in person. It's so nice to do that. And we picked out some books to add to our Halloween bookshelf. I'll share more about our trip to Barnes & Noble in my next book vlog when I share what I've been reading so far this month. But I would like to share with you today some of the books that I picked out for Halloween and then all of my book selection for Halloween and how I've displayed that on my Halloween bookshelf. So the first book that I picked out was this copy of The Haunted Mansion for my Golden Books collection. I didn't have that one in my book collection. We saw the new Haunted Mansion movie earlier this year. It was pretty fun. So I wanted to add this to my Golden Books collection as well. And for now, we'll keep this out with our Halloween books. This is one I bought at the last minute, actually. It is for the grandchildren. It is called Beware, Beware the Noise Out There. And it has 24 super scary sounds, it says. They're not too spooky. Of course, my grandchildren are still really little, but they do love these sound books. It's got a little on-off switch on the back. And just some cute illustrations here with all the spooky sounds, the sound of spooky footsteps, the sound of frogs, things like that. So a lot of fun little sounds like this. I can't wait to share this with my grandkids. Again, they love these books with the sounds in them. And you'll see another sound book that I picked up earlier this year when I share with you the rest of my books as well. This book I actually didn't get from Barnes & Noble, but it did arrive the day I got back. It was in the mail. I mentioned Cranberry Valentine in my last book vlog. That was one of the first books I read this year. This one is Cranberry Halloween, and it is so cute looking. I will probably read this later today. It's got recipes for cranberry dessert on the back, and it just looks like a ton of fun. Then we come to this beautiful book here. This is another one that I found at Barnes & Noble, and I could not pass this up. I love Charlie Brown. We love Charlie Brown around here. And this is The Great Pumpkin. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, but it is a gorgeous sort of cloth-bound, big, nice picture book here. So this will be fun. I already have probably more than one copy of It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, but I loved this vibrant orange cloth-bound copy, and I thought that would be a really nice book to add to my collection. When I was at Barnes & Noble, one of the things I was looking for were some Halloween-themed cozy mysteries. I do like to read those all through October. I'm currently reading one right now, but I did pick up another one. This is called A Dark and Stormy Murder, and it is the first in a new series, so that's why I thought that I would go ahead and pick this one out. So I'll have to let you know what I think of this one in an upcoming book vlog too. I hope to read this one as well. Again, A Dark and Stormy Murder by Julia Buckley. And apparently she also writes the Undercover Dish Mysteries, which I haven't read either, so this will be my first time reading anything from Julia Buckley. And again, this is the first in a new series, which I thought was really fun. Next, in the Barnes & Noble Classics section, as well as their sort of discount section, I found a couple of wonderful classics. This one is such a pretty little book. It's just a nice little pretty book. It's sort of that leathery feel. I don't know if it's real leather or not. This is a copy of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven and Other Poems. So this will be something that I read this year as well. This is such a beautiful book. The cover and the back cover, again, it's that sort of leathery feel to it, and just a really, really pretty book to add to my both classics books and my Halloween books. This will look fun on my Halloween bookshelf as well. And then next, both my husband and I decided this would be a fun one to have. I have not even opened it up yet. I'll open this up later in this video and get this put on to our bookshelf. But this is a Barnes & Noble exclusive, some of their beautiful leather hardback classics that I have a really nice collection of so far. This book is of classic ghost stories. So here's the cover of that. Let's see if you can see that without the glare there. Again, I'll show you this a close-up once we put this on the shelf. I'll get the wrapping off. The featured stories in this are from Edgar Allan Poe, Charles Dickens, J. Sheridan Le Fanu. I don't know that I've read anything by him before. Arthur Conan Doyle, Algernon Blackwood, M.R. James, Edith Wharton, and William Hope Hodgson, and others. So that'll be really exciting for us to read a few of throughout this Halloween season. So I will definitely be excited to be adding this to my Halloween bookshelf. So now I'm going to take a few sips of my tea, eat a little bit more of my muffin, then I'm going to turn the camera around and share with you the rest of my Halloween bookshelf books. And then we'll take a look at the Halloween bookshelf and how it all comes together. Okay, so I've laid out all of the books that I've picked out to put on my shelf. Some of them are just some classics and fiction books that I've pulled off of my shelf, as well as some of my children's Halloween books. So I'll just kind of go through here. We'll start with the children's books and move along to some of the other books that I have. On the lowest shelf, I will put my children's books so my grandchildren can reach those. We also have a few mini books here. This one's really cute. Halloween Night 21 Spooktacular Poems, so that'll be a fun, cute little one to have out. This is my miniature copy of It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. And I love Scooby-Doo, so we also have Scooby-Doo Halloween little miniature book. Then we have a nice selection of children's books. This one is called The Pumpkin Painter, and I have not read this one yet. I hope to read this one this year with the grandkids. It looks really beautiful. Then we have this one. My grandchildren aren't old enough for this yet, but I will definitely enjoy reading this. A World Full of Spooky Stories, 50 Tales to Make Your Spine Tingle. I love the illustrations on this book. Looks like a lot of fun here. We've got a lot of stories and illustrations in here, so that'll be a fun one to check out. This is one that I've had since my children were young. The I Spy Spooky Night picture book, a book of picture riddles, it says. So the I Spy books, you can look on each page and find different things according to what it says down here. The things you have to find, like this one, a broken bone and a padlock, and a train, a chain, a busted seam, an eye of stone, and a silent scream. So the book is full of pictures like that. We all enjoy books like that. So those. Got a color book here that I had years ago that I'm keeping on that bookshelf, so I know where to get it for my grandkids if they want to color. We've got this We Sing for Halloween book that I've had since my kids were little, and also the CD that goes along with that. Then we have this one. It says A Mommy. And this is by Maurice Sendak. And I absolutely love Maurice Sendak's illustrations, and I love pop-up books. So you can see how fun this book is. Wonderful illustrations, and of course the fun pop-ups. So that is a fun book to have on the Halloween bookshelf. Then some board books for the little ones. This is Jane Foster's Halloween. Really nice, simple pictures for Halloween. Just a fun little board book. And of course, we have to have the classic Room on the Broom. This is also in board book form. And Apples and Pumpkins by Anne Rockwell. And this is one I've had for quite some time that I really love, a Scratch and Sniff Halloween book. I love Scratch and Sniff stickers. And this one has a lot of fun Scratch and Sniff pictures in here. Then, of course, we have Biscuit's Pet and Play Halloween. It's a touch and feel book, so we've got the little things that the grandkids can check out in that. This one is a classic, 5 Little Pumpkins. We've also got a full-size copy of A Room on the Broom, but I do really prefer reading my grandchildren, the younger two. I enjoy reading board books because they're still little, and the bigger books like this can tend to get ripped. We also have this one, Ghosts in the House. I've had this one for quite some time. I love the illustrations there, just sort of like the black and orange and white. I think that that's really cute. And we've got a dark, dark tale. This is a fun one. I've had this book for years as well. Very beautiful illustrations. This is a fun one. Again, I've had this book for years, since my kids were little. This is The Teeny Tiny Woman, a classic little ghost story tale here. Just a simple learning to read book, but I love this little copy of that story. Same with this one. This is another one I've had since the kids were little. The Little Old Lady Who Was Not Afraid of Anything. That's also a classic. Here's another copy of It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. That's the 35th anniversary edition. Then we have some Berenstain Bears and The Prize Pumpkin. This book I've also had since my kids were little, and now I'll be able to read it to my grandchildren. And also we have here Pumpkin Soup, which is a totally adorable picture book. You can see how vibrant these pictures are. I absolutely love vibrant children's picture books. They're just wonderful. And this one is also really cute. This is the other sound book that I picked up this year. Unfortunately, it kind of met a disaster with a cup of coffee that tipped over near it, but it is still really cute. I think I got it dried out enough. It's got little sounds of all these different forest animals. This is, I believe, an Usborne book. Yes, an Usborne sound book, which we love. And I've read this already multiple times to the grandkids, so seems as though the coffee, which even went right into the speaker, you can kind of see that I got a little bit damaged there. But yeah, I've got it all dried out and it still works great. So that's why I buy board books, though. They hold up really well for the younger grandkids. And next, for some more of the children's books that I have, this is one of my all-time favorites. I have loved It's Halloween by Jack Preletsky since I was a child. I read this book as a child. I read this to my children, and I will read this to my grandchildren. It is full of wonderful little poems and little tiny stories that are just great. And you can see that 1970s illustrating style that I just really love. So this is an all-time favorite of mine. I actually have 2 copies. I love this book. So definitely, probably one of my most favorite Halloween books of all time. It's Halloween, so we have to have that, and I can't wait to share that with my grandkids. This one is a little too spooky for them right now, but it's also an older classic that we've had for a long time, In a Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories. We also have 2 copies of that. This was one my children also read. Then we have Washington Irving's The Headless Horseman. I actually read this last year, not this copy, but a larger compilation of Washington Irving's stories that I have. I read The Headless Horseman last year and I really loved it. This might be, yes, this is like an adapted or abridged version for children, but still really cute copy of The Headless Horseman. This one is another I Can Read book from when my children were little, called Ghosts, Ghostly Tales from Folklore. This is a cute little Hello Kitty one that I've had for a few years that I think my grandkids will enjoy. Hello Kitty and Me, just a cute little Halloween Hello Kitty story. Then this one here by Dr. Seuss, What Was I Scared Of? I don't think I've read this yet, and I can't remember how long ago. I might have gotten this last year or the year before, but I have not had a chance to read this, so I'll have to read this year. It looks like a lot of fun. This one is a fun, cute one, In the Haunted House. This is, again, from when my kids were little. And same with this one by Eve Bunting, Scary, Scary Halloween, pictures by Jan Brett. I love Jan Brett illustrations. Here we have another Berenstain Bears one. This is Berenstain Bears Go on a Ghost Walk. So that sounds like fun. I do love the Berenstain Bears. Then we've got one by Carol Green. This is The Story of Halloween. So just some interesting historical facts about Halloween. This will probably be for when my grandkids are a bit older. This is a flashlight book, so Adventures in the Witch House. These flashlight books are really interesting. The pages are pretty solid, and then they have these little windows that open up. You can shine a flashlight through that and project that image up onto the wall. So we've got bats and a spider web and things like that. So really fun little book there. My grandkids love flashlights. I have a drawer, and they know where that drawer is, and it's just full of flashlights that they love to gather up, and we always go outside once it's dark and explore around the garden with our flashlights. So I know they'll love this book to play with all of their flashlights. Here's another classic from when I was little. This is by Norman Bridwell, The Witch Next Door and Other Stories. I love the illustrations of this. This is a collection of multiple Norman Bridwell witch stories here. So cute. This was a favorite of mine when I was a child, so I'm excited to look through this book a bit. Here we have another favorite from when I was young and when my kids were young. This is Ed Amberley's Drawing Book of Halloween. How to draw fun little Halloween things here. I love his drawing books. They're so fun and simple and a cute way to learn how to draw. So that'll be a fun one to look through. This is a classic as well. Let's see, Jen Pienkowski. The Haunted House. It's a pop-up book. It's a classic pop-up book. Again, I love pop-up books. They're so fun to look through and imagine being in an environment like this. I think that's super fun. Then we have Where Are They? This is a haunted house fun book with 1,000 things to search and find. Those are always fun books to look through. And then this one here, The Scariest Book Ever. Again, a super cute children's picture book. And now for some of the books that I picked out. I went around my bookshelves and picked out what I thought would be good books for the Halloween and fall season. This is a poem for every autumn day. So I do love to read poetry, and I definitely want to read some of this throughout autumn. So you'll probably see this book also on my November bookshelf. Then we have Leslie Meyer's Wicked Witch Murder. I believe I've read this once, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to double check and see if I've read this. This is a cozy mystery. I do enjoy Leslie Meyer's cozy mysteries. So this is a nice Halloween one. Then we have Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I love the old Archie and Sabrina comics. This is a collection of those comics. So we'll read some Sabrina if we want to. This is really cute. I read this last year, I believe, Dick and Jane and Vampires. So it's just sort of a very fun take on the Dick and Jane reading books. And this one is, of course, this spooky vampire throughout the stories. So very fun and cute book there. Here I have a Country Living Happy Halloween book. Just some recipes and ideas for a Halloween. I love books like that. This is one I read last year. I probably won't read it again this year because I have a pretty big reading list so far, but I will definitely reread this in the future. I absolutely loved it. You can see all my tabs there of quotes that I just loved. The October Country by Ray Bradbury. Wonderful, wonderful book. This is one I'd like to tackle this year from Ray Bradbury, Something Wicked This Way Comes. I've seen the movie, of course, but I've never read the novel, and I would like to read the novel as well. So we'll see if I get to that this year. Then I have this one. This is just a classic short story, but it is pretty spooky. The Yellow Wallpaper. I really enjoy this story. I read this, I think, a couple of years ago, but it's a nice, quick read if you want to read a very interesting, classic, sort of spooky short story. So The Yellow Wallpaper, and then another shorter story, The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. That could be a fun one to read. Here's another one by Ray Bradbury. I believe I read this last year, and this is also really good. The Halloween Tree. It's a classic, great one for October. Then I'm doing a lot of the monster type books, the classic monster books this year. I read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley last year, as I mentioned in my last vlog, and this year I'm going to tackle Dracula, but I might also tackle The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. This looks like it could be a fun read for this month as well. This book was fun. I read this last year. It's just a really short little story here in like a graphic novel form. It's called Fangs, and it's really a fun little book. And I picked out some random books from my shelf that I thought could catch my interest for this month. I've had them on my shelves for a while and would like to read some of these. I'm not sure I'll get to all of these, of course, but these I thought would be potentially great books to read this month. This is called Scary Children and the Carousel of Sorrow. So just like a middle grade sort of spooky-ish book. It sounded interesting, kind of a nice October vibe. This one here, Half Minute Horrors, and it's got all sorts of interesting authors like Lemony Snicket, Neil Gaiman, James Patterson, and more. Just little short spooky stories. This is a children's like middle grade type of book, so that would be a fun one to just pick up and read. I would love to read Coraline. Absolutely love the movie. I believe I've read this once before, but it's been a while, so I wouldn't mind reading Coraline again by Neil Gaiman. Another classic October book by Neil Gaiman, The Graveyard Book. I read this last year, and I really enjoyed this book. Also, I'll probably read this one again in the future. Then I have this one here by Elizabeth Goudge. I think I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. Goudge. The Little White Horse. And I wanted to read this one because this one and the next one are written by the same author. But this one does have sort of a spooky-ish vibe to it. I don't know if it really is or isn't, but I will find out because this looks like one that I would love to read this month or next month. Same with this one. This one is also by Elizabeth Goudge, The White Witch. I don't know if it's Goudge or Goudge, I don't know. But these have been on my to-be-read list for quite some time. This seems like the perfect month to tackle these. Same with these two, Christina's Ghost by Betty Wren Wright and The Dollhouse Murders by Betty Wren Wright. I love any books having to do with dollhouse themes because, of course, I love dollhouses. So I thought that those would be really fun to read. Again, these are younger, like middle grade books, so they could be really fun, quick reads to read in October. And again, I will be sharing everything that I read this month in my upcoming book vlogs, so be sure and come on back to hear the books that I have read and what I thought of them. And we have one by Holly Black here, Doll Bones. Again, sort of that doll themed and spooky. It sounded kind of spooky for October, so I put this in the pile. And then this one here called The Silent Companions, a novel by Laura Purcell. It says here, in a locked room is a painted wooden figure that looks just like Elsie. Let's see, it's about a newly widowed Elsie, and she's sent to see out her pregnancy at her husband's crumbling country estate. So that sounds pretty spooky to me. So we'll have to see if I choose this one to read. It looks really great. Then these are some classic little books that I've had for many years. They're a cloth bound. They're a bit worn, but that's okay. This one, the gold has worn off. This one is Dracula, I believe, a copy of Dracula. Then we've got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The Phantom of the Opera, and Frankenstein. Again, last year I read Frankenstein and I loved it. This year I want to tackle Dracula. I may or may not get to these two this year. We'll have to see, but as long as I get one of these done per year, I think that that is just fine. I love reading classic literature. I like to be sure and add those in as well. I won't be reading this copy of Dracula, though. It's a little bit of small print. So I picked up this beautiful copy of Bram Stoker's Dracula. I don't know if you can tell. This is sort of like a velvety texture here, and the illustrations are by Edward Gorey. I love Edward Gorey illustrations. I love his books. I have very many of them, and I'll also be reading some of his books for this October season, but this will be the copy of Dracula that I read, and I will share with you what I think of this book as I get this read this month. Again, because I do enjoy Edward Gorey, and I think that his spooky little books are perfect for October, I've picked out a few from my collection to read this month. The Evil Garden by Edward Gorey, The Hapless Child by Edward Gorey, The Haunted Tea Cozy by Edward Gorey, and The Blue Aspic by Edward Gorey. So some fun, spooky, quick reads. They have sort of a gothic-y vibe to them, and I absolutely, again, I love the illustrations. So I'll be having a lot of fun reading those and sharing about those with you in upcoming book vlogs as well. So now, to get all of these books on my Halloween bookshelf and share with you what that looks like. Okay, so here is how my Halloween bookshelf turned out. You can see it's a gray bookshelf here that I have in my living room. It's got 3 shelves here, And then in the bottom are doors. That's where I keep some of my DVDs. Up on the top is our clock, as well as some crows that I've had for years, little wooden crows, and pumpkins. Here is the top shelf. This is where I've put the classic ghost stories book from Barnes & Noble, my classic monster books there, Frankenstein and Dracula and that sort of book. I've got some little decor here. These are cute little potbelly figurines that I've had for years of Frankenstein and Little Ghost. This says Nevermore from the Raven. Then we've got a bat here because I thought that would be good near Dracula. So I've put up some of my Edward Gorey books and my poem books and some of the classics that I want to read up here. So that is the top shelf. And the center bookshelf here are some of the books that I'd like to read, as well as the first books, more of the books that I'd like to read this October. Just all the books that I mentioned to you before. We've got our raven here, our crow or raven here with his little spectacle and his little shirt and tie there and his little tux. I thought he was really cute. We've also got the Legend of Sleepy Hollow picture back there and some fall foliage. Here's where I'll keep my cozy mysteries. One of them is next to where I read, so I'll put that back up here when I'm done with that one, and some more of my book choices. And then on the last shelf here, we have all of the children's books that I have for the grandkids. One book that I forgot to mention was The Legend of Sleepy Hollow Golden Book. I pulled that out of my Golden Book collection. Decided to add that one to this shelf as well. Here we have the new copy of It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and some of my little books and things. A cute little Charlie Brown Peanuts figurine there. This is a little set here that I've had for years. A little haunted house here, and it is filled, when you open it up, it's filled with little half-penny dolls that are of all the little classic Halloween creatures, like black cats and bats and ghosts, and you see a mummy there and witches and things like that. The grandkids like to play with this little house, so I get that out for them every year. And it can sit here with all of the books that they have out to read for the month of October. So that is my Halloween bookcase. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at that, as well as hearing some of the books that I hope to read throughout the month of October. And again, I will share with you those books that I'm reading in upcoming reading vlogs. So that is my Halloween bookshelf tour. It was really fun putting together a seasonal bookshelf, and I think I'll do that for next month with Thanksgiving. I have a nice selection of Thanksgiving books, and then again for Christmas. So we'll just keep this bookshelf a seasonal bookshelf throughout the holidays, and then I'll return it to its normal use after the holidays. So that'll be a really fun thing to share with you in upcoming videos, how we continue switching that bookshelf around. So thank you for joining me for my weekly book vlog. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you come back next Friday to hear what I've been reading so far this month. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.